I found a security in going to 7:30 classes here at San Jose State to do my math. There was a quiz every day. You had to get everything from 0 to 10. I was always striving for, I usually got 10s. But I was prepared for a quiz every morning at 7:30, and I would walk from my place on 9th Street to the class, through the cold, and I would do math. And I love mathematics because it was secure. It was something I grabbed hold of, and I could get the answer. You know, no one could cheat me out of the answer. As a writer, I could write something, and it was a matter of opinion. Somebody would say, well, this is pretty good, or other people would say, this is terrible. But with math, there's a certainty to it. You either know it or you don't know it. So I found security in math and in physics. I was a math and physics major my first year, straight A. I mentioned that because I don't look like a math and physics major, okay? But I had this worm inside of me about the drama. And I figured that I needed to write. I have an older brother who graduated here in 1960, and he went to work in the aerospace industry immediately as an engineer. And he came back shocked. He said, you know, there's racism here. There's racism at Vandenberg Air Force Base. And I said, well, that seals it for me. I'm not going to go and do engineering. I'm going to go to some place where I can make a difference. So I decided to become a writer. I decided to become a politically motivated writer. I was very inspired by the 1920s in Mexico. So I decided to conflate those 2 decades. That I was going to take the ideas of the 1920s, José Vasconcelos, and merge them with the 1960s. I was going to forget about the 40 years in between and bring the Mexican Revolution, at least on paper, to California and to San Jose and to my neighborhood. And what it was an image of a baseball game. And it was the Mexicans against the Yankees. And the Yankees had these big Louisville sluggers, you know, these oak bats. And they'd knock the ball out of the porch, you know. And the Mexicans had cactus bats. So every time the ball hit the bat, you could get stuck to the bat, you know. And the head of the ball was the head of the shrunken head of Pancho Villa. And the pitcher was John J. Pershing, the general that led the expeditionary forces after Pancho Villa in Mexico. And I had different historical characters, but I remember I outlined this thing. I said, what is this thing? This is ridiculous. This is absurd. But I liked the title, The Shrunken Head of Pancho Villa. So I took the title and put it onto my play, The Sons of Pedro Montaño. But the absurdity crossed over. Because really, I had been confronted, for instance, I'll give you another absurd example. When I was at James Lick High School, my freshman year, I had the homeroom teacher. She was my advisor. And so I had 2 classes with her, civics and I don't know what else. But anyway, we met in, I remember she was very pregnant at the time, but we met in her office to decide about the rest of my high school career. I had straight A's. I was always straight A throughout the high school. But then I had 2 A+ from her. And we sat down and she said, okay, Louis, so how do you think about the rest of the next 3 years? What do you want to do? And I said, well, I want college prep. I want to do college prep. And she looked, she says, is that realistic? You know what I'm saying? At that time, and even me, that I was straight A, got the same treatment. That's what made me angry, okay? Yeah. Little by little. I'm grateful, believe me, I am grateful that I came to San Jose. My mother was 20 blocks. I could walk and have lunch, you know, save some money, and then come back to class. But I actually earned a scholarship, because I was a straight A student, to Berkeley. A $5,000 scholarship. And one of the judges came to me after they had granted the scholarships, and he says, you know, I'm going to tell you something. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but I'll let you know. He says, the committee had granted you the $5,000 scholarship. But then the Dean of Girls came in with one of her, it was an Anglo girl, her candidate, and she says, well, Louis is a wonderful student, but Louis can't afford tuition at Berkeley. He's too poor to go to Berkeley. You know what tuition was at Berkeley at the time? $75. $75, that's all it was. So I got aced out, you know. But as I say, things have a way of working out, and there was a wider, deeper intelligence at work that brought me to San Jose State. Because I love this institution, and I love my experiences here. I have friends here. It's still a viable connection that I've got with San Jose State. And really, we should all be so lucky as to be able to do this, you know. Berkeley, I've taught at Berkeley. You know, I've given speeches at Berkeley. I have many friends at Berkeley. It went in and out, but the 1960s really started on this campus, not at Berkeley. I don't know if you know that, but the real counter-revolution started right in this campus.